Have you ever wondered why some relationships seem to flow naturally while others stumble at every turn? The truth is, there's a secret, an often overlooked element that defines what men truly seek in a woman. No, it's not just about looks or status, it's something much deeper and surprisingly simple. In this video, we're going to explore the essence of what men value when they're looking for a lifelong partner. We'll debunk myths, shatter outdated beliefs, and reveal how small actions can have a huge impact. If you think you already know what they want, get ready to be challenged. This is the guide that will change the way you see relationships, bringing insights that could completely transform your love life. So stay with us, because what you're about to discover could be the key to understanding once and for all what really matters to them. Men, in general, have a vital need that isn't always verbalized, but is revealed in their actions and preferences, the search for a partner who has time for them. This time, contrary to what many might think, isn't just about the number of hours available, but the quality of that time shared. What men deeply value is feeling like a priority, knowing that amidst the hustle and bustle of daily life, there's room for a meaningful conversation, a gesture of affection, or simply the peaceful company of someone who cares. The lack of this time can lead to a sense of disconnection, causing many to question what they truly seek in a woman. In relationships, the time invested is like a currency that strengthens bonds and creates lasting memories. It's not uncommon to hear men mention that the secret to feeling completely satisfied in their relationships is finding a partner who not only understands their needs but also shows, through simple, everyday actions, that they are important. A practical example would be setting aside a moment each week, no matter how busy it is, for an activity you both enjoy together, whether it's a walk in the park or watching a movie. These small gestures accumulate emotional value, and it's in this space that men find what they truly value. The demand for time is a constant theme that frequently appears in surveys and sincere conversations among men. This desire reflects a search for genuine connection, something that goes beyond the superficial. When a man feels that his partner is present, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally, he finds in that relationship a safe haven. That's why, often, the perception that she doesn't have time can lead to frustration and even distance. Here, one of the greatest challenges of modern relationships begins to emerge, aligning expectations and understanding that, for many men, this availability isn't a luxury but a necessity. There's an interesting and common phenomenon that occurs in many relationships, especially in the beginning, the tendency of women to fall in love with an idealized version of the man they create in their minds. This version is often a reflection of their own expectations and desires, not necessarily the reality of the man they are dating. This ideal, which can be fueled by small actions, words, or behaviors from the partner, ends up becoming an almost mythical figure, where his flaws are minimized and his qualities are amplified. This projection, although understandable, can become a significant obstacle in building a true and lasting relationship. What men value, in contrast, is being seen and accepted for who they really are, with their imperfections and idiosyncrasies. This dichotomy between the ideal and the real can create frustrations on both sides. For example, a woman may create expectations based on the idealized version, only to be disappointed when the man doesn't live up to that image. A practical example would be expecting him to always be attentive and romantic, as he was in the early days of dating, without considering the pressures and responsibilities he faces in everyday life. To avoid this trap, it's essential for women to cultivate the awareness that the secret to men being satisfied in their relationships lies in accepting reality and working together to strengthen what is true. When a woman realizes that she's falling for an idealized version, it's important for her to make a conscious effort to get to know the real man. This may include open conversations about their expectations and what both are looking for in a relationship. This mutual discovery process not only enriches the relationship but also allows both partners to grow together. The acceptance that no one is perfect and that building a relationship requires effort from both sides is what can turn that initial idealization into deep and lasting love, where what men truly value becomes evident: authenticity and the commitment to grow together. In relationships, one of the biggest challenges that arise over time is related to differences in expectations between partners, especially when the commitment begins to deepen. When a couple decides it's time to get serious, issues like marriage, having children, or even where to live can become points of tension. What men value in this context is clarity and honesty from the beginning. Many enter a relationship without openly discussing these expectations, which can lead to significant frustrations as time goes on. For example, a man might imagine a child-free life, focusing on travel and careers, while his partner dreams of a large family. These divergent expectations, if not addressed early on, can create a chasm that's hard to bridge. A practical example of this challenge can be seen when couples decide to live together. Expectations about the division of tasks, finances, or even the frequency of visits to family members can differ greatly. In these situations, the secret to men who successfully navigate these turbulent waters is open and continuous communication. When both express clearly what they're looking for in a long-term relationship, it's possible to negotiate, adjust, and ultimately strengthen the bond. A valuable tip would be to dedicate time to deep and honest conversations before making major decisions, like moving to another city or starting a family. This way, expectations are aligned, and the two can work together to achieve common goals. Another crucial aspect is flexibility, for both men and women. Expectations are not static, they change over time, influenced by experiences, challenges, and life changes. A man might initially not want children, but over time, with his partner's influence and new experiences, he might change his mind. Here, what men value is the understanding and support of their partners during these transitions. The understanding that life as a couple is a journey of constant adjustments and rediscoveries can be the key to overcoming differences and building a future together. And so, as they face these challenges, the couple prepares to explore other forms of relationships that require honesty and transparency, such as polyamorous relationships, for example. In a world where relationship dynamics are constantly evolving, polyamorous relationships emerge as an intriguing alternative for those seeking multiple and meaningful connections. However, this form of relationship is not for everyone. Polyamory, at its core, demands a level of honesty and transparency that goes beyond the conventional. For it to work, it's essential that all involved are fully aware of the rules, expectations, and boundaries. What men value in such relationships, just like in any other, is clarity and sincerity from the start. When these conditions are respected, polyamory can offer a rich and satisfying experience. However, the absence of these premises can lead to conflicts and resentments that are difficult to overcome. It's important to note that, although it is a viable alternative for some, polyamory is not a solution for all the problems a couple might face. Many enter this type of relationship hoping to fill emotional gaps or alleviate monotony, without considering the complexities involved. The secret to men who thrive in a polyamorous environment is the ability to communicate openly and frequently, ensuring that all partners feel valued and respected. A practical example would be the need to maintain regular conversations about everyone's feelings and expectations, avoiding any discomfort from growing to the point of affecting the relationship. The key is to recognize that polyamory should not be seen as an escape but rather as a conscious and well-informed choice. Moreover, it's vital to understand that, in polyamorous relationships, comparing partners is a dangerous trap. Each connection should be appreciated for what it is, without trying to measure one relationship against another. What men value, just like their partners, is the authenticity of each bond formed. By avoiding comparisons and maintaining open dialogue, it's possible to cultivate an environment where everyone feels safe and loved. However, this requires emotional maturity and a genuine willingness to deal with the complexity of polyamory. Those who seek in a woman or in multiple partners the same level of connection must be prepared for the challenges that accompany this choice. And thus, as they consider the social pressure that can arise when adopting a non-conventional lifestyle, it's crucial to maintain an unwavering focus on honesty and mutual respect. Society, with its norms and expectations, exerts considerable pressure on men, especially as they approach their 30s. There's an almost tacit expectation that, at this point in life, they should have already started a family or at least be on the way to doing so. This pressure doesn't only come from the broader social environment but also from family members who often see marriage and fatherhood as inevitable and desirable milestones in a man's life. What men value, however, is the freedom to follow their own path without feeling compelled to follow a predefined script. This tension between personal desire and external expectations can create significant anxiety, leading many to question what they truly seek in a woman and the future they envision. The pressure to follow a traditional path can, paradoxically, drive men away from the relationships that would truly make them happy. Many end up entering marriages or making commitments not because they genuinely want to, but because they feel it's what's expected of them. The secret to men who manage to resist this pressure is the ability to set clear boundaries and follow their own timeline. A practical example would be a man who chooses to focus on his career or explore the world before considering marriage, despite family expectations. This conscious choice, although it may attract criticism, reflects a deep understanding of his own needs and desires, something that is fundamental to building a satisfying life and relationship. The impact of this social pressure isn't limited to the decision to start a family. It also influences how men relate and how they perceive the passage of time. For many, there's a constant ticking clock in their minds, reinforcing the idea that they're behind compared to their peers. What men value, in reality, is the opportunity to build a life at their own pace, rather than rushing to meet deadlines imposed by social conventions. This is where the support of an understanding partner can make all the difference, helping him resist external pressure and focus on what truly matters to both. And so, as they face these expectations, men must also deal with the new dynamics imposed by modern technologies, such as dating apps, which have radically transformed the way they connect and relate. In recent years, dating apps like Tinder have revolutionized how people meet and start relationships. What once depended on chance encounters or introductions through mutual friends can now happen with a simple swipe of a screen. These platforms have democratized access to potential partners, expanding the possibilities for encounters while simultaneously profoundly altering the dynamics of modern relationships. What men value in this new landscape is the opportunity to explore a diverse range of profiles and personalities, something that was previously limited by geographical and social barriers. However, this same abundance can be a factor that, paradoxically, makes it harder to build deep and lasting connections. The impact of these apps goes beyond the ease of finding someone. They've introduced the idea of infinite choice, where it always seems like there's someone more interesting or attractive just a swipe away. This perception can create a constant restlessness, making users, both men and women, hesitant to commit, fearing they might miss out on something better that could be coming next. The secret to men who successfully navigate this environment is balance, knowing when to stop searching and focus on cultivating a real connection with someone they've already found. A practical example would be limiting the use of these platforms to avoid the trap of constant comparison and focusing on the quality of interactions rather than the quantity of options available. Another aspect to consider is how these platforms have changed expectations and behavior in relationships. With initial communication happening predominantly in a virtual format, often through short messages and quick exchanges of information, the depth of conversations can be compromised. What men value, and which often gets lost in this process, is the opportunity to build a relationship gradually, through meaningful and in-person interactions. To counterbalance this effect, it's essential that, when finding someone interesting, the transition from online to offline happens as soon as possible, prioritizing meetings that allow for a more authentic connection and less influenced by the illusions of social media. And so, as couples deal with these new tools, they also face the challenge of communicating clearly and effectively, without letting unrealistic expectations hinder the development of a solid relationship. Communication is often mentioned as the cornerstone of any successful relationship. However, despite being so valued, communication difficulties between men and women continue to be one of the biggest challenges couples face. These difficulties usually arise when expectations and needs are not clearly expressed from the beginning of the relationship. What men value in a partner is the ability to express honestly and directly what they feel and want. Without this clarity, misunderstandings become inevitable, creating frustrations that, over time, can erode the foundation of the relationship. It's as if both are navigating through turbulent waters without a map to guide them. A classic example of communication failure occurs when one partner expects the other to read their mind or guess their needs. This expectation can be extremely harmful. For example, a man might think he's showing his love by working hard and providing for the family, while his partner might feel he's emotionally distant. The secret to men who manage to maintain effective communication in their relationships lies in creating an environment where both feel safe to express their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. A practical tip would be to set aside regular moments for deep conversations, where concerns and desires can be discussed openly and honestly, thus promoting mutual understanding and alignment. Furthermore, it's important to recognize that men and women often have different communication styles, which can increase the complexity of interactions. While some men may prefer more direct and objective approaches, many women may express themselves more emotionally or in greater detail. Recognizing and respecting these differences is crucial to avoiding unnecessary conflicts. What men value in a partner is the understanding that these differences are not flaws, but rather natural variations in how each processes and shares information. By learning to listen and adapt to each other's communicative needs, couples can transform potential points of conflict into opportunities to strengthen their bonds. We live in an era where technology offers us an abundance of options at our fingertips, especially when it comes to relationships. However, this abundance also brings with it a paradox: the illusion of infinite choice. The belief that there's always someone better waiting around the corner, or in the next app profile, creates a mindset of constant dissatisfaction, making it difficult to build lasting relationships. What men value, but often lose sight of, is the depth of a genuine connection, something that can only be achieved through commitment and time invested in one person. When this illusion takes over, superficiality reigns, making it impossible to cultivate the deep bonds that are essential for a meaningful relationship. The illusion of infinite choice not only affects individual expectations but also creates a cycle of disposability, where people are quickly swapped out for others, without enough time for a relationship to truly blossom. For example, a man might feel tempted to end a relationship at the first sign of conflict, believing he can find someone without flaws just ahead. The secret to men who break free from this illusion is in valuing what really matters: mutual growth and support in adversity. By recognizing that there is no perfect person, but rather a connection that is built and improved over time, they can avoid the trap of always searching for the next big love. This mentality of infinite choice can also lead to paralysis, where the sheer number of options becomes so overwhelming that no steps are taken toward a real commitment. What men value, once they finally realize this, is clarity of purpose and the conscious decision to invest in someone who shares their values and life goals. A practical example would be making a list of the qualities that truly matter in a partner and using it as a guide to make decisions, instead of being swayed by the illusory promise that the perfect one is just around the corner. By adopting a more conscious and focused approach, it's possible to avoid the trap of the illusion of infinite choice and instead build a solid and fulfilling relationship. Loneliness is a topic that, despite its relevance, often remains in the shadows, especially when it comes to young men. In small towns, where opportunities to socialize and find partners are limited, this feeling can intensify, creating a sense of isolation that deeply affects emotional and mental well-being. What men value in these moments of loneliness is the authenticity in the few connections they manage to establish, but even these can be hard to find. The lack of a support network and adequate social opportunities leads many young men to withdraw, reinforcing the cycle of isolation and loneliness. And it is in this context that the importance of finding alternative ways to connect arises, whether through hobbies, groups with common interests, or even through the internet, where geographical barriers can be overcome. A practical example would be participating in reading groups, sports, or even online activity clubs, where it's possible to meet people with similar interests, even from a distance. These connections, although virtual, can provide significant relief from loneliness and help build a valuable support network. Additionally, Loneliness among young men can be exacerbated by the social expectation that they should be self-sufficient and emotionally reserved. This pressure to be strong and not show vulnerability only deepens the sense of isolation, making it even harder to seek help or express the need for companionship. What men value, but often hide, is the ability to share their struggles and challenges without fear of judgment. Promoting a culture where emotional expression is encouraged and normalized is essential to combating loneliness. And while they grapple with this reality, the question arises of how to handle life's big decisions, like parenthood, especially when these choices are postponed to later stages in life. Deciding on parenthood at an older age is a topic that brings with it a series of challenges, both biological and emotional. Men who choose to delay fatherhood often face concerns related to health and the energy needed to keep up with their children during their growing years. What men value in this context is the maturity they've gained over the years, which allows them to offer a more stable and secure environment for their children. However, this same maturity brings with it the awareness of the physical limitations and implications that age can have on raising young children. The balance between wisdom and vigor thus becomes a crucial point of reflection. Finally, late fatherhood can bring a sense of urgency to create lasting and meaningful memories with children. Men who become fathers later in life are often aware that time is a precious resource, and as such, they seek to maximize every moment spent with their children. What men value in this process is the quality of the time shared, not just the quantity. This might include family trips, joint projects, and other activities that strengthen the family bond. What men value in this context is the patience and understanding that women show in helping to navigate the emotional complexities that many find difficult to articulate. This ability to guide is not just about leading but rather about creating a partnership where both can grow emotionally, establishing a solid foundation for the relationship. The ability of women to nurture these bonds is essential to developing a deep and meaningful connection. Moreover, women play a crucial role in shaping priorities and defining common goals within the relationship. What men value is their partner's ability to see the bigger picture, helping align expectations and plan for the future together. The ability of women to guide relationships isn't limited to the emotional aspect but also involves creating an atmosphere of love and care that permeates everyday life. What men value in this dynamic is the continuous effort to keep the relationship's flame alive, even in the small things. Gestures like preparing a favorite meal, planning a surprise, or simply being there during tough times reinforce the emotional bond and show that love is nurtured daily. These acts, no matter how simple, have a profound impact on how men perceive and value the relationship, making it stronger and more resilient. Now that you've discovered what men truly seek in a woman, it's time to put this knowledge into practice. Think about how you can apply these tips in your relationship or, if you're still single, how you can prepare yourself to attract and build a relationship based on these principles. What will you do differently starting today? How can these revelations transform the way you relate? The key to a successful relationship lies in small daily actions and mutual understanding. So, don't let this opportunity pass by. Apply what you've learned, observe the changes, and reap the benefits of a deeper and more meaningful relationship. And remember, if you want to keep learning about how to improve your relationships and understand more about what really matters in love, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you'll be the first to know when we publish new videos filled with valuable insights. Don't miss the chance to transform your love life. We're here to help you on this journey.